We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us, talking about open enrollment underway right now for the Affordable Care Act. This is year number 7, right? Is that what it is? And
somehow.
Somehow. Mary Moore is with us. We're going to get to your calls real quick. Just want to remind folks, among the changes and one of the great things, and there have been, look, is the Affordable Care Act perfect? No. But one of the great things from the very beginning, in my opinion, and I think if you have a brain, it's one of the great things, pre-existing conditions did not exclude you from being able to get medical coverage, which is a wonderful thing. Period, across the board. You may quibble with other parts, but there's nothing you can tell me that makes me think that's not a good idea, and that still exists.
Yes.
So folks who maybe have a pre-existing, they're diabetic or something, and they have pre-existing condition where they wouldn't have been able to get coverage in the past, now they can. That is a universal good. Period. End of story. If you don't agree, just hang up and go somewhere else. All right, let's take some phone calls. Next up on the call is Ann. Ann, good morning. Hi, Ann.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
If you sell an asset, say $4,000, does that affect your 10 care?
So assets and TennCare, it gets a little tricky. For most people who are on TennCare, assets and resources don't count. But for some folks they do, especially seniors who may be getting long-term care and support, especially in the home or in a nursing home. Their assets can affect their eligibility. So it's not a simple yes or no question on that.
So that's something you kind of have to run by and explain what your assets are. Does that make sense for you, Ann?
Okay, what is the limit?
Yeah.
So it does vary based on what they call the category. So it's a really hard question to answer, but if you give us a call, we can have a navigator help you look into that. They can figure out exactly what category and what the limit is, and hopefully be able to give you some information to help you on that one. Our phone number will be up in a minute.
Yeah, it will. I'm just telling everyone, get your pen and paper and get ready, and we'll throw it up maybe at the end of this segment and again at the end of the show on how you can call to talk to a navigator. So we always sometimes I hate it when I'm at home watching and they throw the number up. Well, and I want it, but it's just up there by surprise. And then by the time I get my pen and paper, it's already gone. So I'm warning you all, we'll have that number up in a second, so get ready with your pen and paper and we'll have that for you for the navigators and everything.
I'm sorry, I can't answer.
No, that's all right. Those numbers, but you're telling them they can get it through making the call. And we'll give the number out in several moments throughout the end of the show here. So stick with us, Ann. Let's go next to Carol. Hi, Carol.
Yes.
How can we help you, ma'am?
Have a question about a young family.
Sure.
They are going to lose their insurance care in January due to coming out of the National Guard, and they have 2 young children under 6 years of age and 1 income. So how would they be able to afford insurance for their family at this time?
And that's out of the open enrollment period, right? Or how would that work?
It is. So, and I'm not sure. So this is an interesting situation because it sounds like they qualify for what's called a special enrollment period.
Yeah.
So at any point during the year, if you're losing your coverage, you can get onto the marketplace. But this is also overlapping with our open enrollment period. When you know that you're losing coverage on a certain date, you can apply up to 60 days ahead of that day to give you plenty of time to look at all the options, make a decision, and get your new coverage set up to start the day after your current coverage ends. It sounds like the children, especially at that age, and like you said with a 1-income household, they very well may qualify for state-based insurance through the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is Cover Kids in Tennessee, or through TennCare, which is Medicaid in Tennessee. The great thing about the marketplace application is they can go on healthcare.gov, do one application for the whole family. If the children are eligible for TennCare or Cover Kids, that application will be transferred to the state, and then the parents can sign up for marketplace on that same account. So it's really kind of a one-stop shop.
Does that help, Carol?
Yes, and would you leave the numbers up long enough we can copy them down for us?
I promise you I will. I promise. You stick around.
Thank you. We appreciate the program and the information. Thanks a lot.
Great.
That Carol and the family she's calling about is exactly why I like having you come on. I mean, I think a lot of people listening, that's exactly it. That's wonderful. And he's getting out of the National Guard, or she's getting out of the National Guard, and then they're going to need insurance. And as you said, the children may be able under a state plan, but for the 2 of them, okay, all right, their children may be taken care of, but the parents need to take care of themselves too. And that's where the marketplace can come in. So when she writes this number down, passes it on to them, and they go on there to look, and they punch in, when they get up there, once they punch in the information, and by the way, there it is, Mary Elaine is putting it up now, that's great. Once they get in there, will it be online where all of a sudden all of the different plans will come up and you can just click on it and the plan will open up and kind of describe itself?
Pretty much. So there's a calculator tool on healthcare.gov. It works okay. Really, the best way to see what you're eligible for is to do the entire application, and that's what a navigator will help them with, is going through the whole application.
You don't have to have a navigator, by the way, but it makes things easier.
Yeah, you can go directly to healthcare.gov and enroll on your own.
Or I would imagine some people that have had navigators in the past kind of learned it. Now they kind of know what to do when they go. So when you go, then the main thing is to go to www.getcoveredtennessee.org, right? That's where you fill that stuff out?
This is where you can schedule an appointment.
Oh, schedule an appointment.
Of us.
Okay.
There is information on there about healthcare.gov, so they'll get there.
Okay, and then you go to healthcare.gov, and we'll put that number up again before the end of the show. So when they get on there, that information is where they can say, all right, look, I'm going to want a navigator to help me. You contact that, and then an appointment is scheduled, and they'll come. How long typically is an average, call with a navigator when you're going through it? Can you help someone?
Do the application?
Yeah.
An hour to an hour and a half.
Okay, so set some time away. And it's the application. Can you, in that time with the navigator, doing the application and looking at what's out there, maybe come away from that phone call having chosen a plan?
Yes, definitely.
So maybe in that hour and a half, you can be locked and loaded right then and there.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
But if you want to take some time and think about it, that's another good thing about getting started early before the week of the deadline. You could go ahead and do your application now, get some information on the options, think about it, talk it over with your spouse. You just need to make that final decision by December 15th.
Okay, because I think she said he's leaving, or they're leaving the National Guard in the new, did she say January?
In January, they're losing coverage.
She can get going now and maybe get it in place by the 15th, it's now, and then have it ready to go when they are out.
Yes, because everyone who signs up right now during open enrollment, their plan will start January 1st.
Okay, so actually timing on that works. But again, as you said, if it didn't match up in that way with open enrollment, you get exceptions if you've lost your insurance during the year. I wonder, it's neat to hear from people like Carol calling on behalf of someone. How many people do you think are out there that would qualify that for whatever reason aren't really aware? Which is hard to believe, but it could be. Just aren't aware that this is out there. Do you think there are many?
We know there are people who are eligible who haven't signed up, who never signed up.
Because they're not aware, or they just, I don't want any part of that?
I think that there's some confusion about how to sign up, when to sign up. As much as we try to promote the open enrollment period, they do national surveys every year that show that most people don't know when it is. We do this work year round, helping with special enrollment periods and TennCare and Cover Kids enrollment throughout the year. So we get calls all throughout the year about the marketplace and have to tell people that they aren't eligible at this time. They need to wait until open enrollment.
Right.
And then there's also the perception that they won't be able to afford it. So why even look? So that's why we really encourage people to just look.
Well, yeah, and as she said, depending, if you think you're that bad where you are so tight financially that you don't think you can afford it, the odds are you're going to, because there are plans that she said can almost be paid for fully based on what your income is, right?
Yes.
So you need to call and just check on that. It's interesting though, so yeah, there are people out there that either aren't aware of it, think they can't afford it,
or maybe they're just in between jobs. They're really hopeful they're going to get another job soon, so they think like, it seems like a lot of trouble. I just lost my employer coverage. I don't want to sign up for this. I'll get a job soon. But as we all know, even if you get another job that offers health insurance, there's usually like a 60-day, 30-day, or 60-day waiting period. And so if you sign up for Marketplace while you're unemployed, you can keep it up through that window. Just because you get a job doesn't mean you have to drop it. You can keep the Marketplace coverage until your employer coverage starts.
And then once that starts, then you drop it. Now, what if someone gets onto the Marketplace, changes plans, gets to it within this open enrollment period, and then 2 or 3 months in, they realize this wasn't what I thought. They made a mistake. Let's just say they made a mistake. They chose one based on, this is a much more affordable premium, but they didn't realize by choosing that they missed the fact that it's excluding something they really needed. Are they pretty much out of luck?
Unless they have a qualifying event. to be able to change plans, which would be
medical,
like no, medical doesn't count. So it'd be like adding a household member, somebody leaving the household possibly. Now, if their income has changed in a certain range that makes them like newly eligible for additional benefits, then sometimes they can sign up. But if not, then you are pretty much
have to write it out until the next year.
Yeah.
That's why you need to call a navigator to make sure with whatever it is you have.
Yeah. And you can have a navigator help you with as much as you want. If you just want to talk to somebody for a minute, get a couple ideas, ask a few questions, and then do it on your own, that's fine. If you want to do it on your own and then call a navigator for just advice with the plans, that's another option. So it's not all or nothing. You don't have to walk through the entire process with a navigator if you feel like you can handle most of it on your own.
State by state, it varies how many plans are on board, right? Last year in Tennessee, there were how many plans?
Well, it depends on the area of the state.
Okay.
So
Middle
Tennessee's divided up into 8 insurance regions.
Okay.
Yes, 8. So in Middle Tennessee last year, there were 19 plans. This year, there's 41.
Wow. See that? And now, going back 3 years, there was like, or at the beginning, was there like 80?
The beginning, the first year there were like 83.
Like 7 years ago, there were like 83, which spin your head.
Yeah.
But then it was down to 19, and this year you said 40.
There's 41 plans in Nashville and Memphis region.
Okay.
That's the highest number. And then it kind of just goes down. Like in the Knoxville region, there's 31 plans. If you're out in like Jackson, there's 11 plans. And then in some of the more rural, like southeastern parts of the state, up in like Overton County too, there's only 6 plans.
Okay.
So it just really depends on where you are.
On where you live, and sometimes based on demographics, population, all of that. Well, let's take a break on that note. When we come back, our final segment with our guest. If you have a question, we've had a few good ones this morning, or if you're just sitting back and listening, that's fine. You see the number on the screen, and again, stay tuned. We will put the number and information up on how you can get in touch with these navigators and learn more about this process, because you have until December 15th for open enrollment. We'll be right back.